Hello and welcome to rally headquarters here in Harrogate, which is just gently winding down after 4 days of perhaps the most competitive Lombard RAC ever. More A-seeded drivers than ever before, and a colossal battle for the World Drivers' Championship between the holder, Carlos Sainz in a Toyota, and the challenger, Juha Kankkunen in a Lancia. Only seconds separated these two great drivers as they fought it out over stage after stage, until eventually the Spanish driver's engine blew up, leaving Kankkunen to run in a clear winner. His second Lombard RAC, his third World Drivers' Championship. There was still all to play for last Sunday morning, over 37 special stages, 351 stage miles, as the tense and nervous drivers came to the start line on a clear but grey morning. Alan Douglas takes up the story of the Great Yorkshire Showground.
Sunday is traditionally spectator day, with a series of relatively easy stages, but Carlos Sainz was certainly taking it seriously. He's had a magnificent year with success around the world. He began steadily through the showground at Harrogate and stayed there to the fourth stage through the splendid grounds of Chatsworth House, but he found the going very slippy, made worse by a minor brake problem. His rival Juha Kankkunen also made a steady if bumpy start. A sparkling drive put the leadership firmly in his hands, completing the longest stage of the day, 4 seconds ahead of the previous leader Marco Alén. Kenneth Eriksson is one of the bright young breed of Scandinavians who are making their name in World Championship Rally, in this case for the Mitsubishi team. He was in command of the four-wheel drive Galant for the second year running. Pride of place in the opening stages went to Marco Alén. He's soared into the lead on the first stage and held on until here at Chatsworth. 40-year-old Timo Salonen has been rallying for 21 years, but even he makes the odd mistake. Like here on the Clumber stage.
It's good. What's in those tires?
Stig Blomqvist is another Scandinavian veteran, driving for the first time this year the new Nissan, and up to 4th place after the opening stages. And a truly remarkable performance by the 23-year-old British champion Colin McRae, putting his mark firmly on the leaderboard and maintaining the honour of the rallying McRae family. Things were going less well though for Malcolm Wilson, one of a trio of Ford drivers this year. He reported problems with the cooling system in his car, but was still in the top 10. Another Ford man is Welshman Gwyndaf Evans, his car already bearing scars and engine smoke finding its way into the cockpit. He was worried that the head gasket was about to fail.
You seem to find Gwyndaf's bodywork very entertaining.
No, I'm thinking I'm very lucky that I haven't got the same, to be honest. We had a huge moment on Special Stage 2, Clumber Park. Hannu just spun in front of us. I mean, I didn't see him, but I mean, I saw all the black marks. And he said he was doing 150 kilometres an hour backwards. And I got on the radio to warn Gwyndaf, because I think it wasn't it was just the fact that we didn't have the tyres actually warm enough, and the rear end was very, very light. And the first corner we had it as flat left or something in 6th gear, and it just stepped out of line. I mean, my car went on the grass, and I mean, very, very lucky to get away with it.
So you actually took time in the stage to radio back to Gwyndaf and tell him that the problems?
No, once we got to the end of the stage, I'm not that good.
The super special stage at Donington was a new experience, even for old hands like Marco Alén. Instead of a 2-minute gap between the lead cars, they were launched off every 20 seconds. Rally drivers rarely see each other on the stage. Now they were racing almost head-to-head. Carlos Sainz kept his sights firmly on the task in hand and clocked the 3rd fastest time. But the Italian star Mickey Biasion was well off the leader's pace. And it was a less than happy stage for our own world champion, Louise Aitken-Walker. She'd been plagued with gearbox problems all day. Sutton Park is a slick 3.8 miles of asphalt, very fast. Colin McRae had his tail up after his quick time at Donington and was really pressing Carlos very hard. Despite his lower starting position, back at 21, he still managed to clip fully 4 seconds off the Spanish driver's time to grab 3rd place. Meanwhile, Juha Kankkunen had been steadily closing on Marco Alén in the Subaru, and at Sutton Park, he pressed on to take a 1-second lead.
The end of the day, the first easy day, and the battle lines had been drawn. Kankkunen was at the head of the field, but only by 5 seconds. The most stunning drive had come from the leading home entry Colin McRae in his Subaru, showing his two world-class teammates of Vatanen and Delaine just how to tackle these British stages. A battery of lights for Malcolm Wilson as he headed home. And David Llewellyn was pleased with the Nissan, performing well on its first world-class event.
Well, you're looking happy, you.
Oh yes, it was. But today was all right because I didn't do any mistakes and not any main problems, so it's good.
So the plan of campaign is working?
Yeah, it's working, you know, because I'm always a bit scared. I like some of the stages today, but scared that I do something stupid, you know, hit something pole or destroy the car, but now it's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks to Roy Bradford for standing in, much appreciated. He never normally stays down.
Well done, Colin, what a day.
Yeah, it's been quite good. As long as tomorrow goes as well, I'll be quite happy.
How does it feel to be sandwiched between Kankkunen and Sainz?
Well, it's difficult really because we're a bit further back obviously. I think if we were running right up beside them then it would feel a bit different.
I mean, have you had any problems at all?
No, we did a couple of spins this morning just with the road getting so dirty with the cars cutting corners, and it was very slippy and we spun twice, but after that no problems.
So at the end of day one, where once again these so-called Mickey Mouse stages have proved to be remarkably difficult, Kankkunen was the overnight leader, but only a handful of seconds ahead of Colin McRae, who'd had a blinder all day, with Carlos Sainz content to be 8 seconds away in third place. Day two was Welsh Forest Day, 12 special stages, 125 miles of mud and gravel with the rain beating down and the cloud low over the trees. The Welsh forests are demanding at the best of times, but after heavy rain and in the dark, they become a nightmare. The overnight leader Kankkunen chose the path of caution rather than speed, but still managed to hang on to his #1 position. Young Colin McRae, after his stunning performance on the first day, couldn't quite sustain the challenge of champion Sainz, who recaptured the #2 position. None of the drivers enjoyed the early morning introduction to the bleak Welsh weather. Most of them preferred to keep their thoughts to themselves. But Kankkunen perhaps summed up their collective feelings.
How was that, Juha?
Slippery.
Are you glad to be in the forest?
Oh, it's okay, but still a bit slippery, so it takes for a while to get used to again this muddy road.
Did you beat Carlos there?
I don't know.
Yes, 3 seconds.
3 seconds?
With the approach of daylight, the drivers could see more clearly where they were going, but the conditions were getting worse. The morning rain had produced mud, but Sainz was charging. With his brake discs glowing on one stage, he was 7 seconds faster than Kankkunen. On Hafren, he assumed control at the head of the field, 17 seconds ahead of Kankkunen. But there was a new threat from the Lancia of Didier Auriol. He'd climbed steadily up the field and was now challenging Sainz, just 2 seconds behind. Kenneth Eriksson's exhaust on his Mitsubishi was hanging off, and he'd been slowed by a puncture. Now the turbo was causing concern. This is the twice world champion Mickey Biasion, making only his second attempt on the RAC after third place last year. David Llewellyn clung on in the top 10 and only just got through the Hafren stage with a broken drive shaft. And misfortune for the other British hopes. On home ground, Gwyndaf Evans had engine problems and was continuing to modify the Ford's bodywork. It was a bad day too for Malcolm Wilson. He stopped in the middle of Hafren with seized transmission after a spin and was forced to retire. And this is his final moment in the RAC rally, captured by our in-car camera.
Left Max Long continues over crest.
And fellow Cumbrian Dave Metcalf was also finding the conditions difficult in his Nova.
The last stage we've just done there was really, really rough. There was a long straight and it just cut out till there was really deep holes, and the car was just smashing out on the front end and standing on the back, and it really was rough. It was so rough that it chucked it out of gear a couple of times. And it doesn't do the car a lot of good, and it doesn't do my back a lot of good, to be honest.
In the classic Walsh stages in Dyfi, the conditions seemed ideal for Didier Auriol. The fast sweeping bends let him use the immense power of the Lancia, and it was reflected in his stage times. In stage 16, he was 14 seconds faster than Kankkunen in the same machinery, gaining almost a second a mile. After 2 stages in that form, he took over the leadership.